welcome to Business PNG, and with me this evening on this segment I have Mr. Vishnu Mohan, the ANZ CEO for Northwest Pacific region. Welcome to the show, sir.
Thank you, Emma. Thank you.
Now you have been an international banker all your life and have lived in PNG for 3 years. How do you compare your experience today compared to your experience elsewhere, and how do you describe PNG's prospects?
It's a good question, and I was fortunate, or I have been fortunate to have lived in mostly developing countries, Middle East, spent some time in Canada, Botswana, Ghana, Thailand, Sri Lanka, Singapore, Malaysia. But I think I would compare PNG with possibly Ghana from the economic diversity point of view, from the way the two countries are structured. Although Ghana is bigger in terms of population, it's 20 million people, we have about 5.5 million people. Natural resources are very similar: gold, cocoa, timber, oil palm, tuna, so it's very, very similar. The difference is Ghana went through a very bad patch. They took advantage of the highly indebted poor country, so they got the debt forgiveness. Today it's a thriving economy, so they got the debt behind them. Today it's a thriving economy because it's being managed very well. There's good leadership, good governance, being managed well. Now I also lived in Botswana, which was one of the poorest countries at independence in 1964. In 1965 they struck diamonds, and since then they have become a rich country. The reason again is because of good governance and good leadership. The president of Botswana at that time, Sir Serestikama, said to the people, don't ever forget that we were a very, very poor nation. Now we are going to become a rich nation now. We are all going to come into big money. We need to learn to spend our money on what we really require for the country. What I really want is simplicity. For 1.5 million people, I do not want multi-lane highways. I want just single-lane highways that work, spotless, clean, so that people can facilitate inter-provincial trade. I want people to move within provinces, do trade, enrich themselves, urbanize themselves. That is good. I want the best of health system. I want the best of universities. If it means getting professors, lecturers from outside, bring them in. And I want the best of telecom. I want our telecommunications to be the best in Africa, and till today it is the best. So they focused on infrastructure development, focused on developing people, and as a result, they have today become one of the richest countries in the world. It's being extremely well governed. So I think PNG, if I compare the two, PNG is going to enter that phase. So your question about what are the prospects, I think PNG is with the advent of PNG LNG, obviously the wealth is going to flow through from 2014. It's great that they are setting up a sovereign wealth fund. The important thing is the management of it, the governance of it, and making sure that the newly created wealth is wisely spent, is spent on matters or spent on investment that are necessary for the country and help the country to prosper. My view of PNG is that it has every prospect of becoming the richest nation on a per capita GDP basis after Australia. I haven't hidden that fact, and I firmly believe that is a distinct possibility.
And you're the Managing Director for ANZ Papua New Guinea, but also the CEO of the Northwest region in the Pacific. Where do you see PNG's banking industry evolving in the next few years?
I think what is happening is there is clearly a middle class emerging now, as a result of the wealth that is being created. Clearly there has been compensation monies being given to landowner groups as a result of the gas project, also the mining projects. So from where I sit, I can see the emergence of a middle class segment. and clearly that segment is going to grow. So I think for that segment, wealth management is going to be a priority. We don't really have that. What we have is the simple plain vanilla deposits, fixed deposit, savings, and current deposit. But what more that one can provide for this segment of clients that is now emerging, you know, whether it's offshore investments, whether it's fund management. So I see that evolving over the next year or two for that segment of the market. From the for the corporate segment, I think it's what I always believe: today's SME is tomorrow's commercial, which is the future's corporate. Right? You have seen that happen in PNG. There are businesses of the past which are now become clearly a dominant business, which I think will continue to dominate even bigger in the ensuing years. There are big companies who I would call the local blue chips, and they are becoming cash rich. So we need to come up with instruments which will facilitate their needs. You know, that means the emergence of a debt capital market. You know, how do you facilitate bond issues, syndicated financing, that kind of stuff. So I think that's another area which I see evolving over the next couple of years. I think it's a dynamic process. So my view is as wealth continues to be created, as the country becomes richer, opportunities will naturally emerge. And the kind of opportunities, clearly there are a lot of activities happening in the mining industry now. There are Lihia, for example, Newcrest is going to increase the mining to 1 million ounces, so which is fantastic. There are many others. Tuna industry is a big industry. Oil palm. So I think clearly I see PNG moving to the next level, and we as financial institutions should help the country to enter that stage in the global scene. I would personally like to take PNG into the international market, and at ANZ we were the lead arranger for the commercial tranche of the facility for the PNG LNG, and which was heavily oversubscribed. You know, which is a fantastic testament to where the investors or the bankers externally see PNG as a potentially good country for investment.
And ANZ PNG is part of the bigger ANZ group across the globe. Can you elaborate further on ANZ's super regional strategy, and how does ANZ PNG fit into this and what it means to your business?
When our group CEO Mike Smith took over 4.5 years ago, and he articulated a vision for ANZ. He had the foresight to see the world economic power shifting from the west to the east. If you look at around 2000, 2/3 of the world's economic growth was in the west, you know, Europe and US. It's been turned on its head today. Now today, 2/3 of the economic growth is coming from the emerging economies like Brazil, Russia, India, China. Indonesia is today $1 trillion economy. China is the $3 trillion economy. So we foresaw this happening. So as a result, we repositioned ourselves. ANZ was a predominantly Australia, New Zealand based bank, but we foresaw, when I say we, Mike Smith as a leader, he foresaw that, and he positioned ourselves to be a super regional bank, which means how do we facilitate the process of trade flows, investment flows, people flows between these countries. Because if you look at investments coming into PNG today, although Australia has been a dominant trading partner and will continue to remain so, trading activity with Japan, China, and other Asian countries like Indonesia and Malaysia have increased tremendously. And we have positioned ourselves to play a part in the process. You know, we are represented in 32 countries across the world today. 28 of them are in Asia Pacific, and 12 of that in the Pacific, and 16 in Asia. So we are very simply connected with those parts of the world, which I think will matter to PNG in the years to come. You know.
Well, thank you so much for your time, Vishnu, and being with me on the show today. and giving some insight about ANZ, but your position in the market, especially in Papua New Guinea, and taking advantage of the economic growth that we're actually going through at the moment. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you, Emma.
Thank you.
Thanks a lot. Thank you.
Good day, viewers, and welcome to Business PNG. Today we have with us Dr. Albert Mallam, who is the Foundation Executive Dean from the School of Business at UPNG. Dr. Albert, good morning and welcome to the program.
Good morning.
Dr. Albert, now in 2012, you're celebrating 10 years as a business school. Could you kindly give us a brief oversight or insight into the last 10 years?
Okay, thank you very much. The last 10 years saw the creation of a business school at the University of Papua New Guinea. We brought in the old economics program that's been with the university since its inception in the 60s, and the accounting and commerce program to set up the business school, and from there we created a number of other new programs that have made up the business school. We offer programs in banking and finance, strategic management, public policy management, tourism and hospitality management, and business management, which is a mix of operations management, marketing management, and a number of other sub-programs in management. Quite apart from this program, we also offer an executive MBA program and a master's in strategic management. We are in the process of offering the doctorate in business administration and also master's in accounting and banking and finance. So the school has made very significant progress in the last 10 years. Not only in our academic programs, but we are in fact the fastest growing school at the University of Papua New Guinea. We started with a student population of about 5,000. We are now hitting the 11,000 mark. Some of these students are on campus, and a good proportion of the students are off campus. We also offer our programs through the University Open College. We have an open and flexible learning program at the University of Papua New Guinea. So a good, sizable number of our students are spread throughout the country, including Solomon Islands.
Now, Doctor, could you tell us a bit about how UPNG has contributed to the economy of our country?
Well, we have made a significant contribution, and that is through the training of the human resource in the various fields, not just business, but in science and in the arts and in medicine. And I think through the pool of a knowledge-based resource, our students have gone out to make a mark in terms of their various careers, and I think that's the route in which we have made a contribution to the economy of the country.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, can you tell us a bit about private companies and their contribution to UPNG?
The private, for a business school, I can say that we've got a lot of support. In fact, from the Business Council, directly and indirectly in terms of support. An example is that they've offered opportunities for placement by our students, and so our students have gone out to the work environment to get a feel of the work environment before they graduate. That methodology in one way prevents the students from going through a very steep learning curve when they get out to the workforce. So that's been a contribution from the industry. We have had adjunct professors from the industry come and teach in our various programs. We've had the industry support our programs in terms of sponsorship in relation to conference.
Can you give us some examples of some of those companies that have contributed?
An example that one can think of is Bank South Pacific. Bank South Pacific has been very supportive in our program. To some extent, our state-owned enterprises, for example, PNG Power, NES Fund, Investment Promotion Authority, ExxonMobil are examples of companies that have come and supported the programs at the university, whether they're academic programs or extracurricular activities that the university conducts on a periodic basis.
Welcome back to Business PNG. We'll continue our discussion with Dr. Albert Mellem from the School of Business Administration at UPNG. Doctor, thank you again for joining us.
Thank you.
Now, Doctor, if industry is looking for new graduates, what is the best time to go about this, and how can they do that?
Well, the best time for industry to look for new graduates is at the beginning of their program, so that you can have some input in terms of their training program over 4 years or 3 years, and so the graduates have some sense of the industry expectation instead of just letting the students go through a training program. At the end of the program, you come on board and say, I'm interested in, a certain cluster of students. You may not find the right mix to serve your purpose. So there's a greater role for industry in terms of higher education, and preparing graduates for industry.
Okay, thank you, Doctor. Now, how do you see, or how do you foresee the economic outlook for our country?
We live in very interesting times in PNG. Papua New Guinea is, I think, ranked as the 7th fastest growing economy in the world. We've had the governor of the bank talked about, the economic growth. It's going to be running at about 7 to 8% of GDP. It's a huge potential to grow the country, but the challenge is for us to massage the economy so that it delivers. A classic illustration that one can give is that we've had, in the extractive industry, oil for about a decade, maybe a little over a decade. Very little of that has translated into, for example, infrastructure development, addressing the social indicators. So the LNG project will grow the economy in a very big way. Our challenge is to get the leadership mix right, the political environment right, so that we can reap the positive opportunities that will be created by the massive growth in economy. If we get those mixed right, I'm sure PNG will have a very bright future.
Okay, now touching a bit, you mentioned the political stability of our government.
Yeah.
Now, can you explain to us a bit about UPNG's role? And in recent times, there's been, we've had protests and a few issues or challenges with the government. Can you explain to us a bit about that dynamic and how that can be moving into the future?
From an academic perspective and from where we sit, and this is a difficult question because I can represent the university or I can speak as a citizen of Papua New Guinea. I personally was quite worried about the political impasse that we witnessed over the recent past. We must remember, we must not forget that Papua New Guinea is a nation state made up of 800 plus different grouping. And the one binding factor that kept this nation state of 800 people together was the Constitution. And if we trample on the Constitution, whichever way people want to have a take on it, that sends a very worrying signal in terms of the development part of PNG. The students have the democratic right to express their views, and they have participated that way by holding a protest march. Must commend the students for being very responsible. The protest march by students, not just at UPNG, but the world around us, sometimes have a tendency to get out of hand. But on this occasion, it went very well. The students expressed their views, and that concluded well. So, but the most important thing was that the students did rise to the occasion to demonstrate to leadership, and political leadership in particular, that that's not the way we want our society to be governed. And I think that's the underlying message that the students delivered to government.
To government, yeah. Okay, Dr. Albert, thank you so much for joining Business PNG, and we wish you a successful 2012.
Thank you very much.